This is the Sales Podcast, episode number 371. I'm Wes Schaefer, the Sales Whisperer, your host. If you missed number 370, go check it out. John Crowley, Knuckle Dragging Sales. We talked about why going backwards in time, the de-evolution of the evolution of sales. Why that's the right strategy for you right now. And I agree, in this crazy, hectic, noisy world, I think we've forgotten that there's humans on the other end of the screen. There's humans at the other end of this iPhone or smartphone that you're listening to this. There's humans on the other end of the iPad or the desktop. There's humans on the other end of the actual phone that still works in B2B sales. Adding humanity to the sales process is so important. I spent a couple of days with Ryan Dice back in March after Traffic and Conversion Summit, and we talked about doing what does not scale to stand out. And adding back some humanity, a phone call, a private message, a text. I use Bonjoro to send personal videos to new contacts, people that sign up for a report or whatever. Doing what doesn't scale, adding that humanity, going back to the Flintstones, as John said, instead of the Jetsons, is going to help you grow your sales. Today we have David Newman. I will not steal any of his thunder. Coming up in the next episode is Brian Margolis. Brian found me, and I'm glad he did. We had a great talk. I'm going to have him back. Man, we got into some cool things, but he's got a new book out about the index card business plan for sales pros and entrepreneurs. We get into some powerful yet fundamental tools you can use to grow your sales. We're going to get into that with David as well. If you've noticed kind of a trend, I'm having these real people on. I had Sarah Worth on 369 talking about just being a better sales manager, being a better leader. It's the fundamentals. Almost 2.5 years now of doing jiu-jitsu. It's the fundamentals that I keep going back to. There's a morning club, they call it the Breakfast Club, and I'm starting to go to that maybe once during the week. I've gone early on Saturday mornings instead of 11 a.m. I've been meeting these guys at 6:30, 7 a.m., and it's a smaller group of guys, and so it's less formal in the training, and it's all senior guys, and they ask me, what do you want to work on? And it's not the fancy stuff. After 2 years and 3 months now, I still struggle with the fundamentals. It's such a hard sport. But I think we all struggle with the fundamentals. That's why I've merged everything that I've created. I'm taking the Make Every Sale program, bringing back the 30-day sales growth program, putting all of that content into a private Facebook group with these new units. They're just super powerful and simple. I don't have to worry about hosting and third-party tools and all this stuff. So you got to look at what you can take away from your business. And I saw something, I don't know if it was like with the Apple remote. We've got, I think it's the Fire Stick now. My wife fortunately took care of all that. I'm slowly becoming not the IT person of this family of 9, and it's wonderful. But, talking about the remote, they looked at it and said, instead of asking, what can I add to it, they asked themselves, what can we take away? And when they couldn't take anything else away, they're like, okay, we're done. We're now ready to release this product. And so I would encourage you to look at your processes, your sales, your marketing, your business processes, and say, what can I take away? What is noise? What is clutter? What is just not adding the type of margin that we need? I've mentioned before, IBM is no longer in the PC business, right? If you remember, in the 80s, 70s, 80s, 90s, the question was always, is it IBM compatible? And now they're out of the business. So you can get out of the business. I don't know if I mentioned it on the last episode, but in the last few days, maybe last week, I saw a post. I think it was on LinkedIn, actually. It was just the headlines talking about how McDonald's is getting rid of their signature burgers. They tried something new. Okay, it didn't work. They canceled it. So don't be afraid to try something new. Don't be afraid to cancel something. But always remember what your core value is. For IBM, their core offering was not computers, right? They've been around for 100 years or more. International business machines. Obviously, they were in business way before computers, so they got into computers when it made sense, and they got out of computers when it made sense. But their core, is being innovators, leaders, reliable, dependable. More expensive? Yes, but the old adage was nobody ever got fired for buying IBM. And I learned that adage because I was selling against IBM for many years in the tech space, and it would drive me nuts. I had this great offering, but it was too leading edge. And there's a lot of people that don't want to rock the boat. They just want to maintain steady as she goes. Fine. But in your business, you've got to figure out what can you take out. Instead of looking at what you can add, adding something new is so easy. Getting a new idea, going to a conference, meeting some whiz-bang speaker, getting fired up about, quote-unquote, the future, running back to your team, saying, we got to implement this now. You're going to wear your team out. So figure out what your core is and stick with it. Speaking of teams, if you are looking for great salespeople, and if you're a salesperson looking for a great job where you get companies to bid on you, check out my new sponsor, Rainmakers. Go to thesaleswhisper.com/recruit. As a candidate, you sign up for free. As a company, you sign up at a great discount compared to a traditional recruiting firm where you pay 20, 25, 30, 35% of their total targeted earnings for the first year. You're going to hire candidates faster. You as a candidate are protected. Your previous employer and your current employer will not see your profile. Okay? So you can put yourself on the market in confidence and have people bidding on you. The founder, I spoke with Michael. I've got one of his guys, another Mike, coming on the show. He's going to be on episode 374. We're going to talk about this in more detail. But Michael has started and launched successfully a couple of businesses, and he is on the right track with this one as well. Companies like Affinity, Building Connected, Scout, Gong, Handshake, Fleetsmith, DataFox are all using Rainmakers to find top sales talent. So go check them out. Again, use the special link they made just for listeners of the podcast. It's at thesaleswhisper.com/recruit. Find out why Matt Garcia says working with Rainmakers was an easy and seamless experience. I had an offer in hand in a little over a week, and am flourishing in my new role. Sarah Draxton said, Rainmakers is awesome. They helped me land a role that is absolutely perfect for me. So check them out. You will be satisfied. They will see to it. And this is changing the way salespeople are recruited, the way companies hire top sales talent. Because let's face it, sales is the straw that stirs the drink. Nothing happens until a sale is made. You got to have the right people on. The right people that understand empathy and bonding and connecting, that aren't afraid to pick up the phone, that aren't afraid to prospect because they know that's their job. It's not to close sales, it's to open relationships. It's to disqualify the prospect. Okay? That's what they're going to help you do. So check it out. thesaleswhisper.com/recruit. Now let's bring on David. David Newman, all the way from Philly, near Philly. Author of Do It Marketing, 77 Instant Action Ideas to Boost Sales, Maximize Profits, and Crush Your Competition. Yes! Welcome to the Sales Podcast. How the heck are you?
Hey, Wes. I'm great. Glad to be here. Thank you for that enthusiastic intro, especially with the emphasis on crush.
Crush their spirits. So, I'm your typical salesman. I got ADD. I can't read 77 things, man. Is there like a top 7? Is there a top 1? Don't you do something with speaking? Help a brother out, would you?
Sure. Well, so it's funny that you mentioned about ADD. The 77, if you can read like a page or 3/4 of a page or a page and a half at a time. The best compliment that I've gotten about the book, Wes, is, it makes great bathroom reading because it's 77 micro chapters. It's little tiny bite-sized things whether it's about marketing, sales, business development, negotiating, branding, personal branding with speaking or publishing or social media or PR. It's all in there, but it's almost like a website. I was going to say a web page, but it's a website between the hardcover covers of a book. So it's meant to be pick up anywhere, random access, perfect for ADD, high-achieving sales pros.
I love it. Praise the Lord. But you do a bunch. One of your main, maybe the main focus, you can correct me if I'm wrong, is on speaking, right?
It is.
How to get more speaking gigs, how to sell more as a speaker. So you and I spoke a couple weeks ago before my road trip to Texas. So I have slept a little bit since then, so I may forget a few things. But speaking is, I mean, you've had a long history with the NSA, right? And I'd mentioned my focus this year is to get back on the more stages, and I think you'd kind of mentioned the same thing. So what can our listeners do? What should they do? How do they get on stages today? Because times are a little different, would you say, since the economic collapse of '08? Have times changed since then?
Oh, yeah, dramatically for lots and lots of reasons. So let me back up kind of a 50,000-foot global view.
Okay.
Because I think what you said right there is spot on, that speaking is really the ultimate one-to-many marketing strategy and one-to-many sales strategy. So when you're speaking in front of a group of your target market, it could be 20 executives, decision makers, it could be 2,000 at a big conference, association meeting, national convention. When you're that one guy or gal on stage, you immediately get a halo effect of expertise, trustworthiness, and you must know what you're talking about because you are our speaker today. So if you take that message that you are in that premier, preeminent position, then you've got something to say or something to sell, which most of us do in the world of sales professionals, sales leaders, entrepreneurs, executives who speak at these various type of events. There is unprecedented power in that you almost cannot get any other way. You can't get it with social media. You can't get it with direct mail. You can't do it with smiling and dialing on the phone. When you're smiling and dialing on the phone, it's one-to-one. And you're just some Tom, Dick, Harry, or Jane. When you send a postcard, you send a sales letter, you drive people to a Facebook ad, you get them to opt into something on your website, they've opted into 3-4 more things that same day, that same moment. And Wes, you're an expert at this, of course, with the whole sales automation process and the whole back-end thing. That, and I think you would agree, you have to have that dialed in, but that alone is not enough. So becoming preeminent in your field as an expert who speaks professionally, not necessarily a professional speaker like Wes is or like I am, but an expert who speaks professionally, that's going to build your personal platform. And we're also living in a world right now where your personal brand, no matter how big of a company you may be working for, your personal brand is actually more important than your company brand because it's humanized. Right? There's a great book out there called Human to Human Selling, Brian Kramer. And Brian's a great guy, very smart. He says, forget about B2B, forget about B2C. We are selling human to human. Even the largest industrial deals, business to business, manufacturing, hundreds of millions of dollars might be at stake. There's one human that says yes to another human. And that's what gets the sales ball rolling. So if we can master that skill when we're in front of an audience of prospects, a target-rich environment, so to speak, that is your competitive advantage for the next 5 to 10 years. Not many people are willing to do it. Not many people know how to do it. And even fewer people are really great at it. And using that speech or that keynote as a conversion mechanism, and what do you want out of that conversion? You want buy our product. You want book a demo. You want arrange a call. You want more leads, prospects, demos, appointments, maybe strategic partnerships. all of these things can come from a solid speaking-driven strategy.
Yeah, I've always said, and people ask me, do you have a niche? So yeah, I help humans sell to humans. And I realize I probably need to have a little more of a niche, and I'm pondering it. But, I look back, like 2007, I landed a huge mid six-figure training gig with Dell. It lasted 10 months, helped train 3,000 of their North American salespeople. And that was a personal relationship that got me that deal. He got me in. I had to win over his team because he didn't run it with a heavy hand. And I'm still friends with those people, 12 years later. But it was a personal relationship. So I love your emphasis on that. And I'll link to Brian's book. Yeah, there is no B2B or B2C. It's human to human. #H2H.
That's it. There you go. Exactly right. But I think that, as soon as we embrace that we're in the people business, we're in the people branding business more so than the product branding or service branding business, that opens up all kinds of opportunities. And by the way, when I'm talking about speaking, it's not just speaking live in front of a group. So right now, what you and I are doing, Wes, this is a speaking strategy. Podcasting is a brilliant speaking strategy. Should every sales pro have a podcast? I think they probably should. Should they interview their best prospects? I think they probably should. Should they have a door opening strategy instead of, hey, can I steal some of your time? Hey, can I feature you and your company on my podcast? So podcasting is a speaking-driven strategy. Webinars is another huge opportunity. You can do a one-way data dump webinar and get very minimal results. You can have a human-to-human conversational webinar with engagement, with questions, with thought-provoking content, and you can enroll your next batch of prospects into a demo, an appointment, a sales call, a strategy session, whatever it is you call it, that's the front door to your sales process. So that's number 2. Facebook Live or any sort of live streaming, live video, that's another speaking-driven opportunity. When you're populating your YouTube channel, right, that's number 4. You can have not a Facebook Live necessarily, it's more interactive and conversational, but you can shoot short 2, 3, 4-minute videos that are of good service to your target market, that answer burning questions that they have when it comes to your category of product and service. But you know what? They're seeing your face. They're hearing your voice. They are enrolling in the fact that you have expertise in your topic. We're living in the attention economy. So what that means is very simply for sales professionals, first we have to earn their attention. Then we earn the opportunity to win the sale. But if we don't earn attention, then we're out at square zero. We are out at square zero. So what can we do to put compelling value into the marketplace? And one of the mantras that I share with my clients and audiences is you have 2 very simple jobs in sales. 1 is offer value. 2 is invite engagement. Even for the reluctant salespeople or the quote unquote introverted salespeople, oh, I really don't like selling. I don't like bothering people. I don't like interrupting people, right? Forget about that. How do you feel about offer value, invite engagement? Because that's our only job. Offer value, invite engagement. Invite engagement can be a very small little micro step. It can be like, it can be comment, it can be share. It could be, what do you think? And then you've got a queue of comments and questions and interaction, right? It could be subscribe. It could be download. Download this free goodie. Subscribe to Wes's podcast. Review the podcast, for heaven's sakes. I don't know about Wes, but I know I'm always looking for reviews on my podcast. We want reviews. We want engagement. We want to help people first and foremost. If we have a small little micro step that invites engagement, one micro step leads to a larger step, leads to a larger step, will eventually lead to a sale. But like anything else, you can't get married on the first date and people are like, buy my stuff, buy my stuff, buy my stuff, right? This is why blind calling, cold calling doesn't work anymore. This is why sending out 10,000 postcards or 10,000 sell sheets doesn't work anymore. This is why we're in the era of build trust, build engagement, build a community around your expertise, and then invite people to a conversation about how you can help them. The best front door that I found, and we're talking about the Do It Marketing book, and then my new book is coming out at the end of this year called Do It Speaking, which is about how speaking is the ultimate one-to-many marketing tool and one-to-many sales tool, because it makes it easy to build personal relationships at scale. Think about that, personal relationships at scale. Wes, one of the best compliments I've ever gotten from a speaking program, I was in front of about 75 business owners. The comment came back, David's session was so relaxed, it felt like speaking to him one-on-one. Now, I don't know about you sales pros that are listening in right now. I can't have 75 one-on-one meetings today. You might not be able to have 75 one-on-one meetings today. But if you dial in a speaking strategy that gets you in front of 75 ideal prospects and you do the speaking part the right way, you can have the impact of 75 one-on-one conversations today.
Right. But I thought I was supposed to hire an overseas VA for $3 an hour to send identical messages on LinkedIn. And then when they replied, I send them a webinar on demand. And then I have a chat bot that talks them up and makes a sale. And if they don't, then I downsell them. And then I upsell them after that. Am I doing it wrong?
Wes, you may have gone to a couple of these internet marketing programs, is what I'm guessing. So think about, this is so funny because you know this and you teach this so brilliantly. Not only are we sellers, but we're also buyers. So as a buyer, how would you respond to that sort of automated cookie cutter? They don't know a darn thing about your business. They haven't even spent 2 minutes on your LinkedIn profile. They have no idea. Here's my favorite kind of incoming sales call that I get. Hello? Yes, hi. I'd like to talk to the person in charge of purchasing your phone systems. And I say, well, my phone systems right now are this iPhone 7 that I'm holding up against my head right now. My team is virtual. We're all over the world. We have no office. We have no phone system, but thanks for your call. Did they even do 2 seconds of research? Who's responsible for buying your global phone systems? Me, and I'm a customer of one. So anything, here's one of my favorite quotes is from Alan Weiss, who wrote a great book called $1 Million Consulting. One of Alan's go-to sound bites is, the shortcut is the long way. The shortcut is the long way. Because every sales professional, every entrepreneur is looking for, what's the shortcut? How do I batch and blast 50 people at a time on LinkedIn? Like you said, Wes, with the identical message, the cookie cutter links, the, hey, opt in, here's my calendar. May I take 10 minutes of your time? Imagine when you get the, may I take 10 minutes of your time? You can't take anything from me, dude. I don't even know you yet. And your first ask is, may I take something from you? That's crazy talk. How about you figure out who they are, what they want, and customize a message specific to what they're working on, what their last 3 LinkedIn posts were about, what you found on their website, what your CEO said in your last annual report or your last press release, and talk directly to the kind of problem that they're already seeking to solve. The great David Ogilvy said, if you're going to sell fire extinguishers, you first have to show the fire. So what's the problem that we're solving? What's the issue that they're going through that you've got some behavior-based evidence that they have this problem, and you can then show up with a relevant, high-value, customized communication about some tangible way you can get them a result that they already know that they want to a problem they already know that they have. And I know that's a high bar. But when you ask me, it's like, hey, David, how has sales changed from 2001, 2008, 2011? We're now living in a one-to-one world. And every piece of communication needs to be tailored. It needs to be highly relevant. It needs to be intimate. And it needs to be of service.
Yep. All right. So look, you're preaching to the choir.
Totally.
So let's get down in the weeds for a moment, shall we?
Sure.
Shall we? How can or what should an aspiring speaker, where should they begin? Is it the local Rotary Club? I mean, how do they know when they're ready to go after a paid speaking gig?
Well, I think you first have to back up to the two key questions, which is, given your expertise, given the business that you're in, given what your back end products and services and programs might be, what is the problem that you're really solving, right? What's the problem that target market, that target audience has that you already have the brilliant solution to? Once you do that, now we figure out, okay, what would be something compelling or intriguing or interesting or relevant for them to know about that problem? And how can you give them some insight? Because I'm a big believer, Wes, in sort of a triangle business model. As a speaker, or when you put on your speaker hat, our only job as a speaker, and our only capability really as a speaker, is to raise awareness that there's a problem or a gap or a challenge or an issue. Fixing the problem, that's when they start to buy your products and services and programs, right? So let's say that we're, as a speaker, maybe one of the things that we sell on the back end of that is training, right? Or a product or a program that delivers some solution to whatever the problem was that they're now aware of. Now we're into either skills transfer or competency or capability or problem solving. Then there's a sort of an ultimate destination. The third level of this is speaking builds awareness. Buying that initial product from you might be the beginning of solving an actual problem. Once we get into behavior change, where we're consistently conditioning them to be successful in whatever area this happens to be, right? If you're selling payroll software, all their payroll problems go away. If we're selling personal fitness equipment, we're not fat anymore, or we're eating healthy, or whatever it is. If we're selling consulting, then we're selling consulting. But that's long-term behavior change. That's like steering the aircraft carrier, right? Big nuclear aircraft carrier. The captain's on the bridge. We turn the thing, and then, these huge nuclear engines kick in. The rudder starts to turn, and lo and behold, this gigantic, huge ship does in fact make that sharp right turn and is off on a completely different course. If you want to impact and transform your clients in that profound sort of way, that's going to be your opportunity for upselling, cross-selling, extended engagements, repeat business, doing more and better work with that same client, because we only have two jobs in sales. It's to accelerate their speed and shorten their path to an outcome they already want. So once you've got that dialed in, now you're saying, okay, I have my target market. I know who typically has this problem. I've got some intriguing, interesting, compelling things to say. Where do these people already gather? Now, here's where Google is your friend. If we're selling stuff to accountants, here's what you type into Google: accounting meeting, accounting association, accounting chapter, accounting conference. You can Google accounting, engineering, retail, manufacturing, industrial, whatever it is, whatever that industry happens to be, food service, you name it. Figure out where are the local and regional gatherings of this target market, and then they usually have a chapter meeting, monthly meeting, anywhere from 20 to 100 people in the room. People that attend this chapter meeting are probably, not guaranteed, but probably in your target market. First thing I would do before you go to even approach anybody, before you pick up the phone, get in your car, go to visit one of those meetings, see who's in the room. If it's all low-level non-decision makers, wrong group. If it's high-level, right, business owners, presidents, VP level people that you want to talk to, you want to hang out with, then you can come home and submit, ask, email, phone call, hey, just came to the meeting in June, just came to the meeting in December, just came to the meeting whenever. I have a program that I think your members would get a lot of value out of. What would you like to see from me to be considered? What they will usually say, Wes, is, well, do you have a little program write-up? Do you have one or two paragraphs of what you might come and talk to us about in this chapter program? So you write up the program description. Make sure to write it up in terms of what they get. Here's where action words beats learning words. whatever your product is or does or means, and think about those three things. What is your product or service? What is it? What does it do? And then what does it mean to your best possible prospects? Then think about the outcomes after they've experienced the product. We're going to go into resume mode. By resume mode, I mean every bullet that you have in your program description starts with an action word, not a learning word. You're going to boost, build, create, reignite. All the good things go up, the bad things go down. So the bad things you're going to slash, eliminate, reduce, cut, right? Here's the language. After this program, your members will be able to boost, create, grow, maximize, monetize. All the good things are up words, right? Up action words. The bad things, eliminate waste, reduce this, cut that, slash this. So we're using outcome language in the program description. You start going out, speaking once or twice or 3 times a month to these various target market groups, and watch how your sales will explode. More appointments, more leads, more demos, more sales, more upfront door opening activity than maybe you've ever had in your entire sales career.
Very nice. And these are free, right? You're not charging for these initial kind of...
Initially, we're doing it absolutely for free. And not even for free. We're doing it for leads, right? So we either get paid in paid professional speakers, Wes, like you and me, we get paid a speaking fee. Sometimes we have revenue generating speaking, and that's awesome. Sometimes we do lead generating speaking, meaning no upfront fee, but we know that we're going to get clients out of that room. The way I describe those two is either we get paid to speak or we get paid because we spoke. Now, sometimes we have the blessing and the privilege of both, where there's going to be a $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 speaking fee, and it's going to be a room full of ideal prospects who will want to come up to you, buy from you, set an appointment, get a demo, book a strategy session, whatever it might be. And now we're getting paid to speak, and we're getting paid because we spoke. But most professional sellers, man, as soon as they start the speaking strategy, they don't care about getting paid to speak like you and I might. They're just loving the leads. They're loving the business that they're able to generate, and they're busting through quota after quota because they've expertised themselves. That's a new verb, by the way, is expertise yourself. There's a ton of salespeople that sell what you sell. There's a ton of salespeople that sell what I sell. But because I'm the expert in a very tiny little pond, people line up and they want to do business with me because of 3 things, which are very easy for you guys to get: visibility, credibility, and shareability. So the visibility is things like a speaking strategy. The credibility would be things like a writing strategy. So if you have a blog, if you write articles, even if you have a fantastic podcast. So Wes is up in the 380s, 400s, 450s. I don't know how many podcast episodes we have, but clearly this podcast that we're doing today is a tangible source of excellence. So if you're thinking of hiring Wes and he's shown you, he's not telling you that he's awesome, he has shown you 400 sometimes how awesome he is by offering value and inviting you to a conversation about how he can help your company further, you're pretty much likely to make that call happen. And I'm pretty much likely in my world, when I invite people to a conversation with our team, to say, well, this guy seems to know what he's talking about, because the tangible points of proof. So visibility, credibility, and then shareability is about your digital marketing footprint or your social media. You know, how active are you on LinkedIn? How active are you on Facebook? How good is your CRM? I know Wes has some tremendous expertise in CRM. Are you in front of your target market in a way that makes you ubiquitous, where they say, oh my gosh, I see this guy everywhere? So when my prospects say to me, Newman, you're everywhere. I see you on Facebook. I see you on LinkedIn. I'm on your webinars. I listen to your podcast. I say, thank you for that kind compliment. I'm not really everywhere. I'm just everywhere that you are, because I know where my folks gather. I know where they gather in real life. I know where they gather online. I know where they gather as far as the publications and the podcasts that they listen to. So I do work very hard to be everywhere, but it's like the Visa commercial, right? Everywhere you want to be, is you want to be everywhere that your prospects want to be. And you got to fish where the fish are, and don't worry about the rest of the universe.
Yeah, for sure. Because I see people, they get too busy and majoring in the minors, and it's killing them. But so going back though to the talk,
yeah,
because I know I suffered from this tremendously in the beginning. I would give a great talk. It was informative. It was entertaining. It was blah, 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 all these great reviews, but I had no real call to action. I was like, well, if they really like me and they get value, they'll just, seek me out and I'll just get business. And if somebody's new and, they're good at what they do, they're going to share, they'll have more content than they could give in a month, and they only have 45 minutes.
Right.
How does that beginner, how do they incorporate that call to action and still feel unique? Right. Because I had this big mental block. I was like, I have an ulterior motive. They're going to see right through me. I'm just here to pitch them and they're going to hate me. And, the reality was, if we don't have a call to action, we're not going to affect real change.
Right.
So how can somebody new, do this in a natural, congruent manner?
So totally spot on. And this does start with your mindset. And the mindset has to be, I am here to offer value and invite engagement. I'm not here to push. I'm not here to pressure. I'm not here to sell. In fact, anytime that you're speaking to a group and you're designing a conversion-driven keynote or 20-minute talk or 40-minute talk or whatever amount of time you have, think about being of good service to that audience, whether they take the next step or not. Now, the conversion mechanism starts at minute number 1, meaning that we don't wait till the end to go, oh, by the way, if you want to book a call, go ahead and book a call, and here's my schedule, and here's my, let me give you this text response thing on your phone. It needs to start at minute number 1. And when I say the conversion mechanism for, let's say, a keynote that converts, 30-minute, 40-minute, 45-minute keynote, even a small association, local meeting, it starts at minute number 1, because minute number 1, you want them to trust you. You want to give them such good value and such good proof of your value. And here's what proof means. Proof means case studies, success stories, before and after. The best kind of story to tell in a keynote that converts is client story, customer story. Now, when you're using a customer story to teach, you are integrating the content portion with the conversion portion. So you're using lessons from your most successful customers, and those become teaching points. So it's not like teach, pre-sell, pre-sell, pre-sell. Teach over here, pre-sell, pre-sell. Teach, value, pitch. It's integrated because you're using the before and after and the transformation that your customers have gotten as two things, actually. You're using it as a teaching point, and you're using it as an objection handler. So think about the biggest objections that you get when people are doing business with you. If you bake that objection handling into your teaching content, that objection melts away. So for example, let's say, I'm just going to pick something silly here. Let's say that we are teaching people how to have a home video studio. And they say, oh, well, I have to have a green screen. I have to have a backdrop. I have to have all this fancy equipment. You say, Bob came through our program and he thought that he needed a green screen and all this fancy equipment and a $3,000 camera. And let me show you one of Bob's videos. And Bob did this on his laptop with the webcam built into his camera and a $50 external microphone. Bob never thought that he could get this kind of video quality from a home setup that cost less than $50. Have a look. You can't tell the difference between this and something that was shot with a green screen. In fact, it's even better when Bob is at his desk, because now you get to know. And then everyone in the audience is like, oh, I can do this. I thought I had to have a green screen and a home studio and big fancy lights and spend $3,000 on a Nikon digital camera. I don't have to do that. So you've done a great teaching point. You've shared a success story in depth, and you've done some objection busting in advance. Now, a typical keynote that might be 30 to 45 minutes, all you need is 3, 4, 5 of those kind of stories, 3, 4, 5 kind of teaching points that use a customer success story as a way to convey value, a way to convey insight or recommendation. Number 2, social proof that you've got customers and your customers are successful using your product or service or program. And number 3, it's not that bad, kids. Come on in. The water's fine. So objection busting in advance lowers their shields. It lowers their resistance. Now they're not sitting there going, well, this would never work for me. This would never work for our IT department. This would never work for my company. I could never install those widgets and get that result. Sure you can. Now, people will come up to you, Wes, after a program like this, and they don't even know why necessarily, but they will give you their card and say, we have to talk. This is exactly what we need. That thing that you talked about, I think we need that at our company, or that story that you shared. Man, we would love to have that kind of outcome. Now, here's another tip for people. When someone comes up to you and says, we have to talk, don't just take their business card, right on the back of the card, stick it in your pocket, fold down the corner. Don't just do that. Take out your phone and say, you know what, Bill, I would love to chat with you. I'm flying home tonight. I'm in the office first thing tomorrow morning. I've got tomorrow at 10:30. I've got tomorrow at 3. By the way, I'm on Eastern time. Which one works best for you? Book the appointment stage side. Right when you're there at the event, they come up to you. I'd like to talk to you. We should, do business together. Get out there. Don't just write on the back of their card and leave. The half-life of their enthusiasm is measured in minutes and hours. It is not measured in days and weeks. Nail the appointment while you're getting off the stage, and you will get a heck of a lot more results from every time you stand up to speak.
Yeah. That's some gold right there. It's so true. Everybody gets busy. It's amazing how many times trade shows, speaking, whatever, people do all this work to get all these names and then they don't follow up. It's like,
it's true.
What the heck? And
there should be like a multi-million-dollar business in just recovering all those wasted leads that never get picked up and never get acted on, right?
Oh my gosh. Yep. So true. So yeah, I love it. And then, so let's say somebody is a little more experienced. They're trying to ramp things up. I mean, are there tips and tricks to getting paid speaking gigs? Is it make the list, reach out, good timing, with associations, whatever? Or is there a way to shorten that learning paid?
There is. And I think specificity is going to be your best friend. What I tell our clients, Wes, is to create an active 20. Active 20 are 20 specific associations, conferences, and groups where you would love to get paid to speak. Again, research is your friend. You can Google the industry or the topic and the words conference, meeting, convention, association conference, state conference, right? So if you live in California, and you want to get into the accounting niche because you sell accounting software or some other service that's used by the accounting industry, California Accounting Conference, California Accountants Meeting, California Accountant Meeting 2020 or 2021 or whatever year you want to put in there, you will surface all kinds of things. So if you have a finite, written, workable list of 20 targets, you and I can handle 20. We can't handle 6,000. That's too many. It's overwhelming. We wouldn't know where to start. And you can't really do a lot with 3. With 3, it's like, okay, I'm done. I'm out. So you constantly refresh this active 20. You reach out. You can look at their blog. You can look at their past program brochure. Find the PDF from 2018 or 2019 or whatever past year you want to look at. See if you can open up a conversation about, I see that you guys have programs. on topic X, Y, and Z, I noticed you didn't have anything for your members. Always make it about them and their members. You didn't have anything for your members on topic A, and you happen to teach topic A, and your company happens to sell a product or a service or a program that helps them with topic A. So when you make that initial outreach about them, their members, their meeting, their conference, their value that they're delivering at their next event, they are much more likely to listen to you. So Active 20, have a client-centric conversation about how you can add value to the programming that they've had in the past. Point out gaps if they're not talking about this topic or that topic. I'll give you a quick example of this. I have a client who's in the forestry industry. So forestry, all the state foresters, all the departments of natural resources, all the big lumber companies and paper mills, that's his world. Society of American Foresters is the biggest conference. It's the 800-pound gorilla in that field. They never had anything around leadership. Everything was around compliance and technology and wood pulp repurposing and recycling. So he calls them up and he says, I've noticed that we don't have, notice the language, right? We don't have any program for leaders or emerging leaders in the forestry industry. And this guy happened to be a leadership trainer and speaker. And he says, I'm guessing that our members would be hungry for some leadership training at the annual event. Long story short, here's what happened. Not only did he secure a speaking gig, they gave him an entire track. They said, Tom, you know what? You're right. We've been looking for ways to do this because a lot of people that come are top executives in the forestry industry. Why don't you arrange our leadership track for the whole conference? And he did that, and he instantly gained preeminence in that industry because not only was he a speaker at that event, he helped to now organize that event as part of the volunteer committee. And he's spoken every year since then, and he's really expanded this leadership track with other speakers and other experts because he was of service to the group.
Wow. So was he paid on that initial one?
He was not paid on the initial one.
Okay.
So great point.
He
was paid on the subsequent ones, and certainly when he was on the main stage, that was a full fee gig. But offer value, invite engagement. Maybe we don't get paid to speak, but he certainly got clients out of that first free speech.
Yeah, when I was in high-tech sales, I mean, healthcare was a big industry for us, and I joined the HIMSS in a couple of locations, the Healthcare Information Managers System Society.
There you go.
It was a volunteer gig, but, I was very active. It was easy for me to get appointments. I sold a lot, so I was active. So how do you know what to charge? Because you can think you're doing them a favor and charge us a low amount, but you could, if you're offering $2,000, but you're worth 10, and they had in mind a $10,000 to $20,000 speaker, they're like, oh, $2,000, this guy must be just beginning. I don't want him, and conversely, I only want 20 grand. And they're like, we only have budget for 5.
Right.
The reality is it's a great association. You could probably make a killing, but you're too cocky to take a lower fee. I mean, how do you pull that out of them? And,
so I think there's two aspects to your question. One is when to charge, and 2 is what to charge. So when to charge goes back to our decision about, hey, is this a lead generating speech or is this a revenue generating speech? And you get to decide, right? You get to pick, hey, this is not my target market, but I have a relevant message for them. And if they have $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 to spend, I would love to talk to that group for money. If it's a target-rich environment and you have a high degree of confidence that your next 4, 5, 6 deals are hiding in that audience, I would waive the fee. I would still present a fee, but then offer to waive the fee. So it's a fee-waived program so that your perceived value is still high, but the barrier of paying you goes away. To answer your question, so that's if to charge, when to charge. What to charge, you're also exactly right, Wes. Your pricing is your positioning. If you charge anything less than $4,500 or $5,500, you're going to be perceived as an amateur. You're going to be perceived as a beginner. The sweet spot where most paid professional speakers operate, unless there's some New York Times best-selling author or some mega celebrity, they operate in that $5,000 to $10,000 range. Some a little bit more seasoned, might be $12K, $15K, etc. Once you're in the $20K plus, you are a New York Times best-selling author. You are a celebrity, minor or major of some kind. But I think most people listening to this, they would be shocked and amazed to find out their market value, if they dial in the speech and dial in the offer, value, invite engagement, and do everything else right, they could get paid a $5,000 to $10,000 speaking fee tomorrow if their packaging and positioning and value proposition were dialed in the right way. So anything less than that, and people will be afraid to hire you because they've hired that cheap speaker, they've gotten burned, and they've gotten bad press and bad words from their CEO about, where'd you find that guy? He was terrible. So that $5,000 to $10,000, I know it's one of your favorite phrases, as it is mine, it makes you reassuringly expensive. And that's where you want to be. You're not ridiculous, but you are in that bandwidth, you're in that band, that salary band of the truly professional speaker. A truly professional speaker will never take less than $4,500 to put his or her pants on.
Right. Wait a minute. I'm supposed to wear pants?
Pants are required.
Damn, no wonder I'm not. Now you tell me this. Golly.
It's a bummer, I know.
Well, man, I'm glad that point came out, though, just as we're getting to the end. That was meant to be. I was meant to learn that.
I know.
So this has been awesome. All right, I've got links to a couple things here, and make sure I'm saying this properly. So it's doitmarketing.com, right?
Yep.
Is your website. Your book we talked about, so I'm linking to that as well. A great bathroom read. That's kind of like mine. I did the same thing. I are a salesman, so I got my own ADD issues. So I wrote to myself, basically.
Short micro chapters, small bites, big ideas.
You get a free report though as well, right? 6 keys to rapidly grow your speaking-driven business. So I'll link to that from the show notes, but they can get to it easily on your website as well.
Beautiful, indeed.
Right. Okay. And then I'll link to your webinar, right? Is it an on-demand webinar?
Yes,
is it live?
It's a free training. It's on demand. Exactly right. And it's doitmarketing.com/webinar.
Okay. Very nice. And I will link to that as well. Well, we could go for hours, I know, but I've got to go get beat up in jiu-jitsu, and you probably have to go count all your money. I mean, that's one of the downfalls of being you, huh?
At least I don't need to work out, Wes, because I'm carrying heavy bags of cash.
All that money, just shoulders,
just
back,
like you,
strong.
just like you, my friend. Exactly.
Very nice. Well, I appreciate you answering all the questions. No skirting the issues here, but it really was good, and it was great timing. And I'm taking notes for myself. I'm a greedy host. I ask the questions I'm curious about, and fortunately, our listeners have the same questions. So I appreciate you sharing your insight.
Awesome. Thank you, sir.
All right. Have a great day. Visibility, credibility, shareability. How much are you maximizing those 3 key aspects of your business? Chances are not as much as you should. I'm not doing as much as I should. I am in the middle of expanding my team, bringing on people to help with my visibility. As I record this intro and outro, I'm preparing a talk for Jacksonville, Florida, PTRA conference, about 500 attendees. If you're looking for a keynote speaker, let me know. HireTheBestSpeaker.com. I will create a custom presentation, as I'm doing for this group, and I'm leading a breakout session, 3 breakout sessions on the second day to help drive home the point. And I'm doing it super affordably. Listening to what David said, looking at the pricing, I'm right in that sweet spot. So if you're looking for a great speaker for your marketing event, please let me know. I'll be ramping that up this year and moving forward. I love giving talks. I spoke last night at my City Hall in honor dinner, I guess, for all of their volunteers. I love giving back and doing it from the stage. I can impact more people. You can impact more people You've got to be comfortable speaking. You've got to be comfortable delivering a powerful message in a powerful manner. Okay? So a lot to take in there. Please visit the website, look up David's episode, click on the link there at the very bottom. Towards the bottom it says links mentioned in the sales podcast, and get David's book, Do It Marketing. That's my affiliate link, pays me a few nickels, helps me keep the lights on and keep giving back to you, my listeners. One thing I haven't talked about a lot, I've talked about the Make Every Sale program, how I'm rolling that into the 30-day sales growth, just one program now. And I'm raising the price every week as I put in more and more content, because all the content is created. I'm just consolidating it, putting it into one area so it's easy to access on Facebook in a private group, using the units and keeping things simple. But as I'm going through it, I'm updating everything, even though neither of the courses are old. There's always things to update. And just today, I did a Facebook Live video just for the members of the 30-Day Sales Growth group. So I'm adding new content, updated content, and now through well into May, maybe even June time frame, it's a one-time payment, and you're a member. By the end of the year, I'm going to an annual membership. So it'll be more than it is now, and it'll be annual. Whereas now, when you enroll, you get access to the whole group, and everything I create, I'm going to put in there. Once I have a core group of people in there, when they want more access to me, I'm bringing back my inner circle. That'll be a much smaller group. It's going to cost more money, but you'll have a lot more access to me. Live calls, private calls, my cell phone, pick my brain, troubleshoot something. But that's the plan. Keeping this simple, right? Everything in one group at an affordable price, and then a smaller group with more access to me. And I still take on private clients. Not too many. It doesn't scale. It's exhausting, honestly, but I love doing it. But I have to limit it because I do give my all. I dig in, I roll up my sleeves, I answer your questions, and there's nothing that's off topic. I'm not a great graphic artist, but I've knocked out logos for people, helped with copywriting all the time, headlines on websites, free reports, lead magnets. I've helped people with create presentations, like we're talking about, help tighten those things up. I'll sit through and let you do a dry run. I give in this private consulting. My standard package is 90 days. Sometimes people renew. A lot of times people renew, but a lot of times they don't. So my thinking is we work hard for 90 days, get you some major success. Then you either do not need me anymore, and that's fine. Maybe you plug into the 30-day group just to stay plugged in, or the inner circle. Or when you make more money, when you grow, problems don't go away. You just get new problems. Okay? And that's why a lot of times they'll sign up for 90 days, maybe do another 90 days. Usually people stick around about 9 months. So 3 of those 90-day sessions. I've had a couple stick around a little bit longer than that, but we're not getting married. We're just doing a lot of dating. How's that? So if you think that's a fit, and this is for small businesses, it's for consultants, fellow consultants, small business owners that can benefit from some remote help. If you need me on site, if you've got a bigger business, I do that as well. Let's talk. That would be more of a custom type package where I'm coming on site, training people, 1 or 2 day on site, then follow that up with 90 days to 6 months of ongoing consulting just to make sure things are sticking, because you're not really going to grow in a 1 or 2 day session. We can jumpstart things, right? We can raise the level, right? Maybe we get you from a 1 to a 4, right? In 1 or 2 days. You'll feel like a 10, but in actuality, in reality, you're going to be about a 4. Okay, because you've got to go practice, drill, and rehearse. You've got to go do it. I talk about jiu-jitsu. I can watch videos until I think I'm a 5th degree black belt. The reality is I'm about 1% better maybe by watching all those videos. Arguably, I could be worse. I got too many things on my mind, and it's the subtleties, it's the nuances that just don't work. I remember last week I was rolling, talking about the morning sessions. I was rolling with this big black belt. The dude's, I don't know, I'm 6'2". He's 6'4" at least. He weighs less than me. He's a lifeguard and works with the police, and I mean, really good guy, but a black belt. And he showed me this move. I'm like, oh man, so simple, so powerful, blah, blah, blah. And so a couple of days later, I'm rolling. I think it was on I think Lance showed me on like a Thursday, maybe even a Friday. And then on Saturday morning, I was rolling with another black belt, a higher level black belt, smaller guy. And I tried that move, and he started laughing. He just countered it with no sweat. Now, granted, he's a black belt, but I thought it would be a little more effective. And I tried it twice. He squashed it immediately, and he started laughing. He said, "Don't do that move that Lance taught you." And he wasn't there when I was training with Lance. But they've known each other for years. We know each other's moves, right? You learn what everybody's kind of favorite position is and attack. And he says, "It's not going to work because I'm doing something different with my feet." So it's the subtlety I didn't notice. He was holding my leg in a different way with his leg. So he was holding it in a different way. That when Lance did it to me, I wasn't holding Lance's leg as though I'm a 3rd-degree black belt, because I'm not. I'm a 1-degree blue belt. So Lance was able to easily attack me from that position, but I didn't notice. I didn't know, because there's too many things to know. Literally, where are both hands? Where are both elbows? Where are your shoulders? Are you on one hip? Are you flat? Where's your left foot? Where's your right foot? Where's your right knee? Where's your left knee? Heck, where's your head? It all matters. There's just too many things, and you've got to go through that so many times for it to become second nature. And that's why I say, doing a 1 or 2-day session, it'll move the needle a little bit. But it's by constantly getting after it that you become that expert. And that's why I say I'm happy to come out for a half day, 1 day, 2 day. Rarely do I do a 2 day. What I typically recommend, I'll come out for a day, but usually it's a little bit of time chatting with everybody, getting to know people. It's just seeing the office in person, getting the vibe. Then we do a half day. And then give them a little bit of time to go implement in the afternoon. I can ask some questions. Because once you start to kind of set things up based on what I teach, there's always a few little questions here and there. So I want to stick around to help, maybe work through dinner, and then I leave. But then I'm available in a group, on either a private group or they plug into an existing group, and I help customize it and work it so it becomes your own. Okay, that move Lance showed me, then Todd showed a counter. Well, I'm bigger than Todd. I'm shorter than Lance. So maybe there's a tweak in there. Maybe there's a variation that's right for me. I've got to go back and do it a bunch more times to find that out. But I've got the core. I've got the principles. I've got the idea. Now, are you passionate enough, committed enough, professional enough to stick with it until you master it? That's true of everything, right? So that's one of the things that I offer. I haven't talked about it a lot on the podcast, but if you think that'll help, hit me up, right? Go to my website, go to the Contact Us, and you'll get a link to my calendar, and we'll talk. We'll see if there's a fit. No pressure. I tell more people no than yes. And I downsell more people than upsell. They'll come in wanting private. I'm like, go to the group. It's what you need. It's more affordable, and like I said, I give and give and give. I got my phone with me. I'm in front of my computer. If I see a message come across, if I'm not in the middle of a recording or something I just can't stop, I'll stop and answer it. Okay? So let me help you. As always, I appreciate you listening. Please share this. Leave a 5-star review. Subscribe. You'd be surprised how much it helps. So thanks for doing that. Now go sell something.